Hello, this is Cian. Welcome to another video. Today we're doing another short story. We are doing another Clockwork Chronicles short story, actually. We are going to dive into some of the short stories and mini novels that I've written that occur after the books. There's some aspects I couldn't add, and some I just created my own story. Yeah. If you have, I don't know. Let's just get into it. If you enjoy this, be sure to leave a like and let me know any thoughts about it, questions. You know the drill. But yeah. Basically, let's get started. Reunited. A story about Lizzie, and obviously something happens. If you've heard short story of what happened back in book 2, then this is an echo back to that. But if you haven't, then be sure to do so. It's in a playlist. You check it out. All the short stories are there. I moved all the short stories there just to be more organized. Yeah. Let's get right into it. Months had passed since Lizzie had returned back to school after being freed from Mr. A's clutches and returned home after recovering from imprisonment and in the uncertainty of ever seeing the outdoors again. She still had nightmares about these few weeks she had been imprisoned there with her friend Stacy. They both had made it through that awful experience, and she was glad that everyone who had been part of it, that mission, was okay. She didn't know what she would think if something had happened to any of them. At least, things hadn't ended too horribly. She could be found working quietly. She rearranged the chest in the small storage room, humming to herself a tune softly, not paying any mind to what was going on around her. Liam was tutoring some students who were struggling with combat since he was still too young to technically teach the class. But Lizzie knew they couldn't ignore talent like that for long, since the kids were learning, improving, and having fun while doing it. It was one of the few things the boy had done to help out. She appreciated that. But as she continued on her work, she couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness wash over her as brief memories flooded back. Sure, the soldiers hadn't hurt them in their imprisonment, and all the two men had done was taunt them and tease them, but Lizzie had known they were planning something, and she hated how right she had been when Eddie and Martin had been brought in a couple of weeks after that, their capture. It had all pieced together. She couldn't imagine how so much had occurred in such a short span of time. But everyone was safe and alive. She was grateful for that. However, deep down, something kept nagging at her for some reason she didn't quite piece together. She let out a long sigh as she put a potion on a shelf, high enough so no little kids could reach. Not that it would be bad, but it was a waste of a necessary potion that she could need later. She never knew when the next emergency might strike, so being ready was always good. When she was done, she suddenly heard a sharp but firm knock at the door, which made her freeze for a moment, unsure but alert. Normally, if it was Liam, he would walk right in, without a problem, whether one of the men here or someone else. "Hello? Who's there?" she called, looking over her shoulder at the doorway, which was still firmly shut. "Can I come in? I need to talk with you." A voice muffled through the doorway. Lizzie's breath caught in her throat. She recognized that voice. But it could be. It was possible. And there it was. She hadn't heard it in years. Are you sure it's safe?" she asked nervously, and the door opened to reveal a tall figure that she knew all too well. Someone she hadn't seen since the attack when she had lost Sherry, a friend of hers, and the mother of both Sam and Liam, who were both very young at the time. They never knew what a wonderful mother they had before it was stripped away from them. Boyd told me that he would make sure that no one would bother us, the man said with an easy smile. Lizzie returned the smile as tears filled her eyes as the man came closer. How did you find me? She asked quietly, unsure if should hug him or slap him across the face. She wanted to do both, wanted to do neither. She wasn't sure what she really wanted anymore. She was too stunned. I had help, the man replied. This time the right kind of help. I managed to escape those men years ago, but after I heard what happened to you, I couldn't bear risking showing my face to you. Lizzie nodded. She looked up into the eyes she knew so well, deep and tender, full of compassion and guilt. It wasn't your fault. You didn't know. But if I had made sure they didn't hurt you, the man started. Lizzie managed a small smile and gave him the tiniest of a kiss in the cheek. I'm just glad you're okay. I'm glad you are too, the man said with a smile. Lizzie nodded as she gave the man she loved a hug, years overdue, not caring about how he'd gotten there, or why he was showing up now. Glad she could be with him for one moment. It's more than enough. I missed you, Joel, she whispered softly. Missed you too, the YouTuber replied. There wasn't a day that passed and I wasn't thinking about you. Oh, really? She asked, pulling away with a smile. Yes, really, the man nodded. I want you to be with me forever, but it seems to me you have things going on here. Yeah, I feel safe here, she replied quietly. The people were nice. I have a reason to be here, and I'm happy. Besides, Liam would have nothing to do if it weren't for me. Joel laughed. Is that the boy's name? Yeah. He looks a lot like his mother, Lily replied with a small smile. Both boys have her stubbornness, though, too. They did save Stampy's life all those months ago. So I've heard, Joel nodded. It's good to see that they're doing well. Your mother would be proud, Lizzie agreed sadly. I'm truly sorry about what happened, Joel admitted. I wanted to make it up to you. You already have, she said with a smile. You came back, after all these years. You're pretty brave, Space Me. Joel laughed. It seems I made the right choice then. Good, she replied, matter-of-factly, surprised when the man scooped her up into another embrace, kissed her. She laughed as she melted into him, feeling his warm lips against hers, her own. Finally content and happy, knowing that the men hadn't taken everything from her. They never would. She was confident of that. Now, what did you think? Of course, I had to change things up to make the story interesting, but yeah, that's what happened. And now the rest is history. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, if you have any ideas for future stories, let me know. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!